So this is the attempt at doing a broadcast at 21:40 hours GMT. The time timed at 21:50 GMT on Tuesday, the 13th of August, 2024. This is the broadcast dedicated to the cause of the three so-called stray kittens who are being prevented from being fed. Prevented from being fed by an organization that is subsidized by the London Borough of Newham Council to the tunes of millions of pounds. The organization is called the Joy Foundation, and it's based at 83 to 87 Prince Regent Lane, London E13 8RP. This is a location that is literally next to the Newham University Hospital. It's a location which is not far from the Glen Road, which leads to the London Newham University Hospital. There are three so-called stray cats that are waiting to be fed. And I've got a box of food for them, which I bought before 10 p.m. from the Stratford Sainsbury's. But I'm not allowed to feed these cats or kittens because a man who is on duty as the nighttime staff, allegedly on behalf of the Joy Foundation, is, as described by the journalist Aidan White, extremely bureaucratic. Now, there is obviously no shortage of information and news about the cruelty being done by so-called caring organizations. One of the things that I remember and I keep remembering is the news item published online on the independent.co.uk on Tuesday, the 13th of November 2018. And that news item contained a prominent part, a substantial part of the contents was about the then recently elected Newham Council mayor, executive mayor, elected mayor called Roxana Fias. On the day before, the Monday, 12th of November 2018, according to that report byline to the social affairs correspondent May Bullman, Roxana Fias had attended a meeting where the then visiting United Nations special rapporteur special envoy so-called, on poverty and hardship and homelessness and all the rest of it. That rapporteur called Philip Alston was present. And at the gathering, which took place in the Barking Road, in an organization called Community Links, a single mother described her experience of seeking help from the Newham Council housing personnel and social workers. That particular mother was fleeing, escaping an abusive partner, and she sought help from the Newham Council Social Services. And she was starving. It was a cold night, according to her description, as reported in the Independent. So she sought help and begged them to help her with the food, with something to eat so that she could survive the night. The social workers, according to that report, said they couldn't help her. So she was forced to eat or drink the milk that was there with her for her baby. So she drank her baby's milk in order to survive the night. Hearing the descriptions, that description and other descriptions at the same gathering, the just newly elected on the May 2018 mayoral election, Newham Mayor Roxana Fias responded, and there is a picture on the online story taken by Mayor Bullman of Roxana Fias. And Roxana Fias staged an apology, saying that she apologized unreservedly for the behavior of people that we, that is, Newham Council employ. Now that was 8 years ago. Today is the Tuesday, another 13th of the month. But this is the 13th of August. And 8 years on, Roxana Fiaz's Neom Borough Council has been funding millions of pounds, to the tunes of millions of pounds, an organization, including the organization like the Joy Foundation. And the Joy Foundation boasts on its online declaration that it has been helping the Neom Council with temporary accommodation for the last 30 years. According to most insiders employed in Neom Council, the Joy Foundation is beyond audit, beyond accountability, and beyond any answerability to anyone for its behavior. But millions of pounds are funneled into it in the name of providing caring support, temporary housing support to people. Now, these kittens, three of them, adult kittens, but I call them kittens because of the implication of the word kittens is very much protective and very special. So these kittens appeared near where I stayed within the Joy Foundation about 3 months ago. I didn't encourage them, and I would not encourage them for the simple reason that if I had to leave the place, I would not be able to take them with me to anywhere. So therefore, I didn't want to create an attachment with them. All I did was to put some food near where they would appear every night about, say, between, say, 9 o'clock in the evening, British Standard Time, and about 11 p.m. And they would absolutely love the meal because obviously these kittens are hungry all day. They must wait anxiously for this time of the night, and they would come and they expect to be served. And it has been a privilege for me to serve them. Now, yesterday, when I appeared with the food, a man who cannot be described as a human being because he must think that he is not a human. I think he must think he's like Indian Narendra Modi. He's not ordinary human. So he ordered me to leave immediately and never to return. While he was doing that, telling me as if I was a criminal, one of the kittens, the grey one, was struggling to get into the space. Obviously, this kitten knew that I was there and it recognized my voice, I'm sure. I managed to put one pouch, contents of one pouch, out on the kind of package. and left, and I went to try to talk to this individual. But he was as fierce as anyone imagining a fierce person, a fierce being could be. I mean, he was at the height of his, how shall I say, authoritarian, fascistic, unaccountable powers. And his powers were being exercised against these three kittens. He wanted to see that the kittens would starve and they would not be allowed to be fed. Now, tonight I came to the location and I spoke on the telephone to a local councillor called Jane Lofthouse. Jane Lofthouse is obviously not as experienced as I am. So she suggested, yesterday, she suggested that I contacted the charity called Celia Hammond Animal Trust. Now, I have known Celia Hammond for more than 30 years, and I told Councillor Jane Lofthouse that it would not be of any practical use contacting Celia Hammond. Tonight, Councillor Lofthouse suggested on the telephone they contacted RSPCA. Now, the RSPCA are on the record as being one of the most cruel organizations, and their cruelty has been chronicled in a long ranging episode of the discussion and controversy involving the then Charity Commission. And the chair of the Charity Commission at the time was William Shawcross. Now, Shawcross and I go back some time, and Shawcross is not any less cruel than this individual at the Joy Foundation, but essentially, Shawcross wanted to stage a kind of propaganda profile for himself while he was sitting as a conservative appointed chair of the Charity Commission. So he made a big fuss about the RSPCA being cruel to somebody and to the cruelty of the RSPCA and somebody else who murdered a kitten. Now I told Jane Lofthouse that RSPCA was no good. I have other tales I could tell her running into hours. But she said she was in the middle of something else. So I said to her that I was being considerate and I would not take up her time. But just for the records, I wanted to tell her that the RSPCA was no good. The RSPCA is like the shelter. The shelter founder, Des Wilson, had a row with me in the middle of the 1980s at the St. Bride's Church of Fleet Street, London EC4, when Des Wilson was idiotically, racistly, ignorantly, stupidly boasting that he had helped your people. He was referring to me. There was no way that Des Wilson knew any of my people, let alone helping any of them. So when I had this row with Des Wilson, the racist moron from New Zealand, an idiot from the Daily Telegraph, who had known me at the county hall during the height of the Ken Livingstone years at the county hall during the years 1981 to 1986, when Margaret Thatcher eventually scrapped the GLC. That idiot, instead of supporting the evidence, added his taunting comment against me and in support of Des Wilson in the St. Bride's Church of Fleet Street in the mid 1980s, just before the GLC was finished. So I told Newham Councillor Jane Lofthouse tonight that the RSPCA would not be any help. And I said that I only contacted her for the record that I was there outside of the Joy Foundation. I was being prevented from entering and feeding these hungry kittens. This has been now 15 minutes plus. I shall end this broadcast. I don't know when this will be able to be circulated to anyone that I can circulate it to, but this is going to be continuing, updated. This is 21 hours, 57 minutes GMT on Tuesday, the 13th of August, 2024.